Hey guys, I'm Matt from Pop Horror Review Movie Podcast, and I'm just a guy talking about movies in front of a camera. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came out to not great reviews and not great cinema score. It has a Rotten Tomato, one of only two of the whole MCU franchise, and only one of two B cinema scores. I think it's tied with Eternals right now for Rotten Tomatoes, and it's also tied for a B cinema score with Eternals. It makes me ask the question, what does Marvel need to do to come back and be stronger than ever? And Marvel, if you're listening, I have some ideas. Now, like I said, I think it's a 47 or 48 percent rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. There's a B cinema score for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yes, the Rotten Tomatoes score is high, but that's a little more unchecked than some other things for audiences to grade movies. And I'm not saying there's no people who love Quantumania. I just think there's a lot of people who don't like it as well. So that's why it made me think while I was watching this movie, what can Marvel do? Because they've really been having some hiccups. I might like the movies that people or shows that people are talking about. Like they say, it's quantity over quality. And while I like some of the things they're putting out, I understand what they're saying, and it's really hard for me to say that as a Marvel fan. And I know Marvel fatigue does exist, and it's starting to exist with Phase 4. I don't have it yet, but I see it, and it's hard to not acknowledge, even if you don't have it. So I wanted to kind of hop on this video and give three ideas to how they can fix it, because I think Marvel needs to really kind of sit down and reassess, because I think just kind of like letting things go and trying to change it project by project isn't going to work. They really need to sit down and kind of hash things out, and they've been doing it, actually, since even before recording this video. Kevin Feige has come out and kind of said he's going to course correct a little bit, which is great. Number one, I think they need to space out their projects. They really need to let each one shine. Yes, last year I think there was 3 movies, 4 shows, and 2 specials. Like that, I think there was like 8 projects altogether. And while I thought some were great, some, could have used a little more love. And I don't think it's a bad thing to push things back or to delay a movie. Look at Captain Marvel 2. Or the Marvels. They delayed it to November instead of July of this year, and I think that's a great thing. Just because it's getting pushed back doesn't mean it's bad. It means they maybe just need to, let Guardians have their moment. And then maybe they can just kind of like make sure everything's good with that. Let's make sure the visuals are great. Let's not rush to the finish line and accept defeat when we get there. So for this year, I really think they should, and I think they're going to do it, because I think they've announced. So there's rumors that there's only going to be 2 Disney Plus shows, and there's 3 movies, and I think that's kind of the perfect amount, because even DC, who's restarting their universe, is doing 2 movies or no more than 4 projects, 2 movies, 2 shows, I think, at a time. And I think Marvel's well established, and they can do 3 movies, beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, and then have 2 shows in between the early to mid year and the mid to late year. And I do think I think the reason this is happening now and it wasn't happening during Phase 4 is because Bob Iger's back as the CEO, and I think Bob Chapek kind of pushed. I think his mentality was quality over quantity, and Bob Iger came in as like, no, fuck that. We're doing quality, so if there's a little less, it's fine to make sure they're amazing. And I think Kevin Feige wanted to hear that, because I think he accepted it, but he might have not been able to, and now he can with the new change in CEO. And I think going forward, that's how it should be. It should be a movie, a show, then it goes to then it goes to a summer movie, then a show, then it goes to the winter movie. And I think that works, to be quite honest with you. To get great reward, you make tough decisions. Number 2 is do not be afraid to go more dramatic and hire writers and directors with that background. 1, look at Ryan Coogler. He isn't from a comedy background, and look how good his movies are. I feel like the dramatic actually helps Black Panther, and I feel like, and there's a little comedy, which is always fine, and that's a Marvel trademark. Have a little comedy, but it's not like Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's like comedy, and a lot of Ant-Man movies where it's comedy. So I think they need to, hire more dramatic writers and directors who have that experience, and maybe just not do all comedy or all newer directors. And I know they've been hiring a lot of Rick and Morty writers, and I think people are starting to realize that's not a great choice. It's starting to feel like a Rick and Morty MCU mashup, and they're not really fitting right now. What needs to be done is maybe, have someone from, I don't know, The Last of Us come and write a show that is able to really have that element of drama to the movie, and it could be and then it would just differentiate, and you could have the comedy stuff and you have the drama stuff, but right now it's just too much comedy, and I think you maybe need to lean away from that. Because once again, I liked Eternals, but that was more dramatic, and that's why I liked it. I think it was really asking questions that no super movie was asking. And no disrespect to the people that they've hired, but it's just, even though if I like it, I can see why people aren't liking it. And the third one is going to be, they need to have distinct corners of the universe, of the MCU. Like, I feel like Black Panther, you're in Black Panther. It just feels like Black Panther. Once again, I think, and I think when you have certain directors with certain backgrounds, it might help them, create a world. I think sometimes the movies kind of feel like there's no distinctness to it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's just another Marvel movie. And I think if you had distinct, like, these are Captain America movies, and this is how it feels, this is how it looks, and like Black Panther has that, and that's why I love Black Panther, their movies so far, and like Guardians has it, but then people have been starting to copy Guardians, like Ant-Man 3 kind of felt like a Guardians movie and a Star Wars movie and stuff like that. But, like, that's Guardians thing. Give it its own thing. And then, like, that way, like, I think that's why Marvel has been able to survive this long. You give us different stuff. That's why Star Wars really, it's hard for them to do it, because they were just kind of giving us the same thing over and over again. And they're finally starting to branch out and stuff like that with Mandalorian and stuff like that. But I think Marvel was doing it, but I think now they need to do it even more, because, they were up, and they've hit a little plateau. They need to, keep going up. And I think those are the three things that Marvel needs to do to kind of really get back to where they were. And they need to take risks. I definitely need, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I would love a risk being taken. And I think they do that with some places, but some places that I think they go a little too, safe. Are these three things the right things? Who knows? In my head, these are the three things Marvel even needs to kind of like acknowledge. And they can, and I think they can win over more people and win them back. Because, I'm still loving Marvel, and I would always love Marvel. But I want to see it back where it used to be. So I just need they took a little dip, just come right back up. I think restarting after the Infinity Saga is a hard thing to do. And, maybe this might be the middle saga, the multiversal saga. Unfortunately, this might have been like, we need to see what works, what doesn't. And I think now that they're kind of realizing that, and enough movies have come out, enough TV shows have come out, they can kind of be like, this is what we gotta do for this is what we gotta, how we gotta finish it out, and this is what we're gonna do for the next saga. And I think it could work. So let me know what you think about those three things down in the comments, or if you have additional things that Marvel should take note of to, be as strong as ever and be back in the graces of just worship from critics and audiences alike. Mr. Feige, if you're listening, comment down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Cheers.